Alright guys, so today we're putting in a boost gauge for my car. It's just an Autoline SAAS gauge. It's cost me $45 from Super Cheap Auto. It's the wires on it are pretty short, so we've just extended them today with these connectors. It's we're just using recycled cable from some old lights, and yeah, that's how we're going to connect them.
Yeah, rip into us online if you think we're doing it wrong or something.
Probably are doing it wrong, so the dodgy way.
Nothing wrong the dodgy way.
Yeah, so there's a boost gauge. It's just a mechanical gauge. There's nothing real fancy about it. It doesn't show EGTs as well, or oil pressure or anything like that. It's just, yeah, a simple one boost gauge. But I'm expecting to see only 16 pound. That's really all the car should make. If it makes any more than that, I'd be absolutely shocked. I expected to make less than 16 pound actually. But the kit also comes with this plastic tee, which I'm not sure if I'll replace yet. I might get a brass one. I don't know. It's just brass fittings are a lot better to work with than plastic. Especially being, you know, an apprentice plumber, you sort of see plastic fittings in all sort of air and water applications just bursting off with too much pressure. So brass ones are usually the go, and it comes with this see-through rubber. It's a vacuum line, but I might also just get some blue or black vacuum line and put that in instead, because you know this stuff's pretty thin. You can squeeze it pretty hard, and I feel like it's going to get pinched somewhere in the engine bay or get too hot and melt. So yeah, that's pretty much what we're going to be doing. The next clips you'll see are pretty much just us installing it and, you know, making sure it works. So alright, so we're using an old battery to test to make sure that our wiring works on the gauge. So sweet, you can see that's illuminated now. Take the earth off, no lights, it's good. Sweet. So we're in the process of cutting the line that we're going to tee into for our vacuum hose. You can see it down there. And yeah, so we've just taken our intake pipe straight off, and yeah, we're just fiddling around trying to get our hands in that little hole. So we're finally putting in the boost tee. If you can see down there, that's where the barb is for it. And so we've extended this line and we're just teeing into the end of this line. So you can see down there I've got the brass tee all clamped on. I thought I'd use a bit of clamps just for some extra security on there. And now we've got to run the line all the way around there and put a hole in the firewall down there. So we actually just skipped ahead and we finished wiring that up. That was a bit harder to get to. We had to pull a lot of stuff off, like the instrument cluster out, and we had to pull my A pillar out. So instead of wasting daylight, I thought we would just get it in and then show you how exactly we put it in. So if you come over here, so originally we had taken this off, which is just goes straight into the intake for the turbo, but you can see here is the hose, our burst line, and if you go under there, that's pretty much where the T is connected. I should have a clip in there or a picture in there somewhere where the T actually is put in. And so we just sort of ran it in the best way to avoid heat from other stuff, and so it wouldn't just flap around in the wind and it wouldn't rattle around loose. So we've run it around a fuel filter and down, and you can see down there is our hole. Put a little grommet in there and it just runs straight through that little hole. We drilled that. It's in the passenger footwell. So if you come into the passenger footwell, so if you see the line here, so we've run it through, we've drilled a hole in the back of the firewall there. There used to be this rubber thing there that we've cut out. And you can see we've run it under here, through behind the center console, and we've run it all the way under there and up through the driver's side footwell, and we've mounted it on that A pillar up on the right. Now we're yet to actually install the wiring because we just sort of ran out of daylight to find a fuse and connect everything to, which it's not a big deal. Like, most of the driving is at daytime and it's not hard to connect the light, and I can end up taking photos and posting them up on Andy socials just so you know how I've actually connected it. But one thing to remember when you're connecting your boost line is, I think it's useful to get brass stuff and to get clips so you can make sure it's really tight on there, because the last thing you want is a hose popping off when you're driving and you've lost all boost between your solenoid, and it's just not a good time to be running a naturally aspirated car, and it can just cause issues. So far we've only seen the car at 12-13 pound. It's not a high power car, it doesn't make a lot of boost, doesn't have enough fuel and air delivery to make that much boost anyway. So eventually I think we'll get a bigger air intake and a bigger airbox, and we'll probably turn up the boost a little bit and try to get a bit more fuel in there just to make a good amount of power. There's an ECU remap by a guy named Jamie Nobel, which I think I'm going to install pretty soon. It doesn't so much maximize efficiency as it maximizes the power you get. It's great for towing heavier things, and it's your takeoff speed. There's just sort of no bogging down. It just increases takeoff so much, and it's just a really good tune. He's done a lot of stuff for the ZD30 Navara, which he's really well into, and he's really got this 2.5 litre tune down, which is pretty exciting to say the least, that I can get a little bit more efficiency and power in a short burst, just a plug and play ECU. So if you see down in there, there'll be a black 5mm inside diameter hose that you'll be able to get from the turbo straight to from your boost solenoid to your valve valve, I'm pretty sure. And it's the best place to it's the easiest place to tee off. It's not so much an accurate reading like tapping into your intercooler might be, but it's a pretty accurate reading, and it's probably your safest bet to just cut that and put a T on there. It's a little bit hard to find, but you sort of follow your nose a little bit and look for the thinner hose out of the ones that are down there, and you'll see there's this point you can pop off the turbo, which is up in the back down there where that little hose clamp is. That's what you pop off, and in my opinion, I think you should pop it off and use that original line and just add an extra little bit of line in there, so you have a little bit of play between your lines and your T. It sort of helps with being able to get access to it the next time if something blows off, if you want to change it. So that's pretty much it for this video. It's not a very in-depth one, but I hope it sort of shows you where you should tee it into and how you should run your line if you've got a car similar to this, where the turbo's on the right side of the car when you're looking at it, and you want it in your driver's side, which can be a bit hard because you're going to run a fair bit of hose. But yeah, so that's pretty much it. It's going to be wired up within the week, so I'll probably post a photo of it wired up with the lights on. And yeah, so for our next video, we're probably going to be getting new wheels and tyres. I think I'm going to stick with the 32, just as it's hard to mount bigger tyres without body lift. I've only got suspension lift right now. And I'm going to get some Maxxis razors on some 16-inch zero offset steelies. So we'll probably go test those out and see how good they are. Heard good things, and a few people I know have them. So I guess that'll be the next video, going out to some 4B tracks and testing out the new tyres.